So we're back here at the airfield with troops in contact. Um, so we've got the Red 4 force of about 20, 19, actually 19 Op 4 soldiers with a heavy machine gun. They are undercover or in cover in these buildings next to this airfield. We have a Marine platoon here with company mortars and on call an air weapons team of 2 Apaches. 3 action cycles have already passed. That's 3 minutes of simulated time, and in that time the Marine platoon got up and out of their patrol base here, moved through the wood line, and are advancing across this high ground to clear south and to the west of the airfield. So various things. Let's see if I can. All right, so first of all of these Red 4 forces are down in down posture in the building, so they are keeping a very low posture. They're not able to see much very far outside the buildings, so they're waiting for. They're actually waiting for the Marines to approach with some helicopters, or even land at the airfield, and then counterattack, or ambush them, so to speak. Okay, the only Red 4 unit that's really in play is the machine gun team here, that is on the edge of the building in up posture and observing north towards the approaching Marines. What's important is the Marines have been moving and bounding overwatch. There's now about 250 meters separates the lead Marine unit and the Red 4 heavy machine gun there, 250 meters. Basically, if actually the Red 4 player has probably already observed some of the Marines while they're moving in up posture between going to down posture. In any case, they're gonna hold their fire till they get till they're in a better position to attack. But their primary mission is to defend this building area of this airfield and to not give it up. So again, the burden is on the Marines to clear this Red 4 force out. What's clear is the Marines can't really advance too much further on their own. So kind of the basic rules developed so far for troops in contact here makes this task incredibly difficult. Basically, it's kind of absurd that the Marines would continue and risk losing like half of this force to achieve the mission of clearing out this Red 4 force. Instead, there are too many other things that need to be developed, basically, to make this worthwhile exercise, make this worthwhile in the lessons that could be taught, lessons that could be exercised here. what I'm referring to is that at this point, first of all, with naked eye, the Marines are not going to see. They're not going to see the Red 4 force until they're really like maybe 100 meters, 150 meters away. At that point, they might spot, or they should spot, the machine gun team in up posture, not the rest of the Red 4 force. And at that point, they're so close to the machine gun that it would be a very bad day for the Marine Corps here. But in any case, I've only been working on naked eye observation so far. Really, at the very least, we need to get to binos. So at the very least, this team here, if we introduce magnification and optics and sights, I mean, even simply 3 times magnification binoculars, even if the effect is so this machine gun team here is observable, I think, 12 hexes out, I think. Wait. No, it's not 12. This unit is observable. Well, huh. Okay, so with naked eye observation, a unit has an observation point allowance of 12 to observe the unit, but 10 observation points are taken up by the building itself. So therefore, but with naked eye observation, again, it's not being observed. This unit is not being observed. That doesn't seem right, but it close in here, okay, somewhere here. Oh yeah. No, actually that's about right, because it is a small troop unit. So I take that back. They are not observable beyond really this line right here. Okay, so in any case, what does 3 times magnification do? Does it triple the observation point allowance? So from 12 to 36, the building takes up 10 of that, so that leaves 26. Then the unit back here, I know I'm doing this really quickly, but so here's a small troop unit in a building. It's only observable until a unit gets to here, very, very close, 50 meters away. But if the Marines have three times magnification, let alone 6 times or some other even more powerful magnification, let's just say a simple 3 times magnification, does that mean that the observation point allowance to observe this unit is tripled? In which case it could be observed. So what does that do? That would tell the Marines that it's there. I guess the fire on it would be, unless we're talking optics and magnification on the weapons, I guess it would be unobserved fire. But in any case, it would be better. First of all, it would be better for the Marines to employ the mortars. You have 2 mortars you could drop smoke, at the same time, using the mortars, could drop a smoke screen right there, and then get troops in close and assault the building. That's one option. That would still be costly. But in any case, I've got to finish mortars. I have to handle mortar delivered smoke. But then the other option is, of course, that all along when the Marines were coming south and trying to observe the enemy here, they need to pick up look at the ability to use the rotary wing with standoff. Standoff would be, I mean, they could be, 30 hexes off the map that direction and still observe the enemy in the building here, report by radio down to the Marines on the ground, and it would be a non-issue. The Marines would know exactly, or with a lot of accuracy, the enemy force here. This reminds me a lot of how in training at the 101st we could take advantage of the Kiowa scout helicopters and all of their capabilities to observe the enemy, from beyond the from beyond human sight, from the perspective of the OPFOR. So this capability has got to be brought in. So with none of the extra stuff, no mortars, no smoke, no rotary wing support, the Marines have a pretty dismal mission, and it's going to be very bloody, because once Red 4 opens up, it's going to be virtually impossible for the Marines to advance, which is to simulate that with wide open fields of fire here. I mean, in game terms, it doesn't get any better. You're not going to advance against a position like this without taking horrendous losses, if at all. The Marines are going to be pinned down fully pinned down. They're not going to go anywhere. So, which is all realistic. I should point out something too about in this game, all elevations are slopes. There are no pancakes, so there is no this contour line being any type of barrier to observation. This ground is generally flat, and it would start sloping up like here and slope up and up to a peak about here, and then start sloping down again. So really all of these Marines have been observed by now from Red 4 here, because Red 4 is looking right up a gentle slope and watching the Marines come down. Now they're not, well, again, OPFOR is going to have, OPFOR could have observation capabilities as well. But again, considering naked eye, basically the Marines are visible when they're up and moving, and then they go out of observation when they go down. But still, Red 4 has seen enough coming down the slope here to have figured out the force coming towards them. So again, it's the importance of developing all these other capabilities, which includes, more observation. Boy, observation is just continues to grow in significance. cannot be, observation cannot be underestimated. Cannot be underestimated. So the other thing is that again the simulation game here needs to build on real world, and that is the Marines might in fact realistically do this mission at night, take advantage of night observation capability of the American forces, clear at night, and all the advantages that can come from that. In any case, despite everything I've said, I mean, the mortars aren't going to do anything to the unit, to the OP4 inside the building, but it can lay smoke. The air weapons team can help with observation, and of course can also bring a lot of devastating firepower to bear, which it probably should, after serving in an observation role. Add on top of that, attack at night with night observation devices would probably be the best way to do this, which again is kind of the lesson we're going at here. So add to that night rules, night observation devices. Ooh, there's a lot. There's a lot. So those are all the things that really need to be developed. I'm going to continue on with the kind of the direct fire fight, understanding that this is not the right way to go. It's not the right way to go. It's not the good way to go. But this will allow me to go over basic firefight mechanics. So we'll pick up again. This is the second period of the fourth action cycle. Second action period of the fourth action cycle. Okay. Green 4 goes first. Mar 4. See, they wouldn't do anything. No. So Mar 4 passes. So we go to Red 4. Now let's determine whether the machine gun here can see. Probably cannot see the Marine there because the Marine is in down posture, and I'm not satisfied at all with my with even my basic observation data. Two things happened as I relooked at observation. One, I was able to drop the 3-step process to a 2-step process, which I'll talk about, go through here, as we figure out whether the Red 4 machine gun can see the Marines up on the rise there. The other thing is that going over the data again, I was using real-world benchmarks. I was using real-world benchmarks, and these are them. These are the benchmarks I was using. In acting, and this is in game terms, in acting high-profile vehicle, something like an MBT, something like a moving MBT, in up posture, so that means not behind defilade, in flat terrain is visible 5,000 meters away through flat terrain by a stationary observer in up posture. So that we're talking. So an MBT here moving is observed by a stationary observer in up posture, 5,000 meters, flat terrain. And then it goes from there. Then I have a stationary high-profile vehicle in up posture in flat terrain is visible 3,000 meters away through flat terrain by a stationary observer in up posture. Then we have an acting squad, squad-sized troop. Okay, so not a small troop, not a fire team, but okay. So if we have anyways, so an acting squad-sized troop unit in up posture in flat terrain is visible 1,500 meters through flat terrain by a stationary observer in up posture. And finally, a stationary squad-sized troop unit in up posture in flat terrain is visible at 1,000 meters through flat terrain by a stationary observer in up posture. Now, those were the benchmarks that I was using to determine all of my observation data. And then, as I was looking at it last time, reviewing it again, I realized that's not right. Those benchmarks are accurate enough for visibility, but they're not accurate enough for observation. What I had forgotten was to separate out visibility from observation. So on a perfectly flat desert, again, a stationary observer in up posture could see a tank moving 5,000 meters away. But there's no way that that tank with the naked eye could be observed, meaning observed is not just seen. So visibility is seen. Observed is seen, identified, proper range estimation, etc., etc. So that the target is seen, accurately identified, and acquired for action against. That being observation, my benchmark, and so all the data was way off. Way off. So I figured, looking around at the data, I figured out that observation was actually, I went ahead and used a variable. Is it accurate? Who knows? But it looked to me like observation ranges were really 40% of visibility range. 40% of visibility range means that a moving vehicle, perfectly flat terrain, stationary observer in up posture, observing max range that moving tank could be identified, that is observed, would be 2,000 meters, and then it goes down from there. So there, instead of having the 1,000 and 1,500 meters, which is fine for visibility, now really a squad size unit is really, that's acting, can be observed 600 meters away. Yeah, which is really max. I mean, that's perfect conditions, and everything comes down from there. So that's, and by the way, I'm talking about perfectly flat desert. That obviously there's no such thing as perfectly flat desert. That's not even really, not even in game terms is that what we need to think about or talk about. Really, when I talk about that max range to observe, in game terms, that's really going to be when a unit is elevated and looking over the terrain. So therefore, it is, by naked eye, I think a unit that's elevated, looking down, could identify i.e. observe a target accurately out to 600 meters. Again, a squad size troop unit that is acting. Yeah. And so I think 600 meters, again, max case, identify opposing forces from friendly forces, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's go back to see now the two-step process. I had a three-step process before. Now the two-step process to determine whether the Red 4 machine gun team can observe the Marine fire team that's in down posture on a rise here. The first step is to determine the observer's observation point allowance based on the target's posture and state. So this is a small troop unit. It's a fire team. It's a small troop unit. It is in down posture and it's not acting right now. So that means that it is observable, able to be observed 80 meters away is the estimate. That's my estimate. 80 meters away, which corresponds to 3 observation points, observation point allowance, which means that the machine gun team does not see that unit. Incidentally, if those Marines were to go to up posture, they would be observed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because they now become, when they go to up posture, they are then observable out for 300 meters or 12 observation points, which would be enough for it. So okay, so Red 4 passes. That's the end of this action period. We go to the third action period. We remove the third action period markers if we have any. We do not have any. Mar 4 passes, Red 4 passes. Now we go to the fourth action period of the fourth action cycle. So we're ending the 4th minute of this encounter. Now we remove, we have 1. That 4th period marker is removed. The winded marker is removed with it. Like that. Now we are going to do something now. All right, I can't get everything on the camera here, so here is the machine gun. Red 4 machine gun, remember, on the edge of the building right there. Here's the edge of the building at the airport. They're in up posture inside the building. So over here, this Marine unit there is going to go up for one action point. Now, everything is yeah, let's look at something right now. So again, you remember where the Red 4 machine gun is? Down this way. The Marine unit just went to up posture. So counting, so he is in up posture. Oh, and he's acting actually. Okay, so he is acting. Because he's in the middle of acting, he's already considered PM. He's already considered period marked for the first action point that he's expended, even though he's continuing to try to act. So now he is up posture and acting. Now he's visible 500 meters away, or 20 observation points. This is important because the last thing that I added to the observation mechanic is basically, if you can imagine, the Red 4 unit that's down here is looking across the clear terrain but also up the slope. And remember, this is a 10 contour line, so the center of this rise we can consider to be roughly 15 meters above the ground level down here, the zero elevation level down here. 10 meters is a little bit higher than the average telephone pole, or I'm sorry, street lamp. It's about 1.5 meters higher still than the average street lamp. And then we have a half of that again to get to the top of this rise, this little knoll really, or rise. The point being that as the Red 4 unit at lower elevation is looking up through this terrain at higher elevation, the last thing I added to the observation model is that this terrain here that it's looking through, so this one, and into this one, are doubled in cost because they are higher. No, they are higher than the observer, because they're higher than the observer and at the same elevation as the higher unit. So in other words, the angle from being down looking up is creating some defilade, so to speak. This unit is partially obscured by the rise here, by the rise right here from the observation of a lower unit. Okay, long way of saying that these three unit hexes in observation points are going to be doubled. However, because they're acting, I think he's now observed. So what we're going to do is we're going to go again we're going to go back and see now what is the observation point allowance for the Red 4 machine gun team to observe this unit, which is up and acting. Again, the observation point allowance for the Red 4 unit is now 20 because of the posture and state of the Marine unit here. So now it's 20. These are clear hexes, which are now 1. I changed that. They're now 1 observation point cost, doubled because of the higher thing I just talked about. So it's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So in other words, the Red 4 machine gun team is expending 16 observation points to observe up the hill to the Marine unit that just got up and started to move. 16 observation points, its allowance is 20, so it clearly sees that Marine unit as it gets up and starts to move. So again, not good tactics. The Red 4 really should hold fire, but let's go ahead and do some combat now. Okay, I am re-looking a bit. The first choice, I won't say first thing, but okay, a choice for the Red 4 player is to decide what type of attack he wants to launch. Okay, so I'm going to go to the heavy machine gun combat table, firepower table. It's not even labeled. I guess it's a firepower table. It tells us how much firepower it generates at different ranges and different rates of fire, etc., etc. So let's do this. Let's start with a 1 rate of fire attack. So this is he's just opening up with a first, 6 to 9 round burst. The Red 4 player's aim this time is to get the unit back down again. And so what we're going to do is, so it's area of fire. So we look on the combat table, the machine gun crew is still at 3. And it's a 1 rate of fire attack. So at range, what was that? 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At range 12, wow. At range 12, Is that right? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, at range 100, 200, 300 meters. Yeah, at a range of 300 meters, at a 1 rate of fire attack, which again is basically 1 full burst. He drops 2 CF, 2 casualty factors, so it's 2 firepower, which is 2 CF casualty factors. 2 casualty factors, drops 2 casualty factors right on the Marines, which without choice, he has to go down, and he has to go full cover, no choice, and he expended only 1 action point when he was getting up, so he is still marked with the with the +1 PM, +1 period marker. So he's marked for the next period, like that. 2, boom. And now the attacker is marked with the same PM, same period marker. Like that. Alright, so that was the Red 4's attack. They opened up fire, Marines hit the ground. Now action goes back to the Marines, the Mar 4 player. Now let's re-look at observation, because now, of course, the posture and state of the Red 4 machine gun unit has now changed, right? Because they've acted. They are acting. I guess is a better way of putting it. So they are acting. Let's see. Let's calculate for the Mar 4 unit here. Calculate for this Mar 4 unit. Can this Mar 4 unit now see the Red 4 unit there? Okay, so start with the target is a small troop unit. It is up and it is acted now. So the observation point allowance for an observer is 20. Yeah, 20. Now, well, this is good. Now we go to the observer. This is interesting. These would be lower hexes. So even though he's down, these intervening hexes are treated as 1. Yeah, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 for the building is 19. Okay, so this is significant. He's in down posture. If he were in down posture, he would definitely not see the Red 4 unit. But if he is, despite being in down posture, because he's at our higher elevation, if these intervening hexes are only treated as, oh, maybe it's not even intervening, maybe it's, there's almost an argument to say because he's at higher elevation, his observation point costs are not doubled at all for being in down posture. I kind of say let's go with that. Yeah, yeah. I'll have to remember that. Uh, so he's looking. He is looking over this terrain. That's for sure. Certainly not blocking. And into the building. Ah, I think he would observe him. What is that? Is that 250 meters away? Yeah, he would observe him. Okay, so let's go. Let's execute some. Let's say the the Marines are going to open up. So we go to the Assault Plus firepower table because this is a 4-person, 4-Marine fire team with a squad automatic weapon. They're going to open up with a 4 rate of fire attack. They're going to open up with a max rate. Let's go with a 3 rate of attack. 3 rate of fire. Let's go with 3 rate of fire. 4 personnel still remaining in the team. That at range 10 is 5. So it generates 5. Generates 5 casualty factors. And then he also goes, that's interesting. Does he have to go full cover or does he just, no, yeah, down full cover, yeah, down full cover. He goes, because he's in the building, down full cover, like that. He's marked with an action point. Okay. Let's go now. Let's say it's pass. We go to the next. So start the 5th action cycle, 1st action period. Remove the 1st period markers like that. From both sides. Alright, let's resolve these. So Mar4 player goes first. Let's resolve this. So that's 2. The way we're doing this, the way I'm thinking of doing this, is now it's area of fire. So roll the percentage dice. Ooh, 74. Okay, we go in order. I can't remember what the order is. So I can't remember what the order is, but okay, so this is a Marine unit. They would have to pass a will and teamwork check. Base would be 7 times 8, 56. And let's say they had, even if they had even if they had a +5 for their individual unit profile, that would still only be 61. So they rolled higher than that, which means that we stay on the 2 column. Okay, we don't go. Yeah, we don't go down a column. Then they're in clear terrain, which offers no. Let me make sure I get this right. They're in clear terrain, which offers no. No concealment, but 10% cover. But they didn't roll. Oh, wait a minute. This is just nothing. I'm going through all of this, and this is way on the 2 column. This is nothing. Okay, so a high number is. That's interesting. A high number is good for the CRT. Yeah. Okay. So it's just nothing. So they would just clear it. And they would be ready to act again. So they would clear, and it took the MAR4 player's action to do that, but it doesn't cost the unit itself anything. Okay, so it can still act, except that action is going now to the Red 4 player. Okay, so at this point we round. It's an odd 5 casualty factors. We round normally, so 5 would round up to the 6 column. So then, likewise, 85, yeah, that's nothing. So 85 would be nothing as well. So that clears. So let's say, there we go. Let's try something lower. So let's say Red 4 player rolls a 29. 29. Okay, first of all, we're going to make these average Op4 military. Okay, they're not incompetent. They're trained, experienced, everything. They're solid military grade by world standards. It's not even by world standards. It's by really first world standards. All right, so 7 times 7, 49. Let's say they also have a +5 unit profile. So 49 plus 5, 54. They did pass their skill check. So that means that they go down to the. That means that they go. Where was I? They go. Yeah, they would go down to the 4 column. Then, so that's the skill, not skill check, the reaction to fire test. Then the building offers. This is where I have to determine how much cover does the building offer to a unit that was in up posture. But certainly it's very high. So clearly 29 is under the percent of cover. If the cover is 70%, let's say, then clearly 29%, a roll of 29 is 70 or less. So the roll is in the cover zone. A 29 on the 4 column, because we went down, column, is would be a 1 casualty, but because it hit the cover range, it does not cause a casualty, but it does. The unit is suppressed. So suppression now is just going to be a delay. I changed this. It's just going to be a delay. So basically they need 15-second action period to kind of, get their composure back. But they're not acting. They're also not acting this action period because they are marked. So that is in effect suppression, though it doesn't have to be called that, but that is in effect suppression. So, and they're really suppressed because not only are they not acting this turn, they're also down in full cover for this entire action period as well. Oh, I know I forgot something. Right after the, right after the Marine unit, yeah, I forgot to do this. So right after the Marine unit launched the 3 rate of fire attack, I needed to roll for low ammo because any where is it? Okay. Again, for average sake, we'll say it. All units here are at medium combat load. 3 rate of, this is a 27% chance. Okay, 34. But he was okay, but there was a 27% chance that he would have gone black ammo. Not black ammo, low ammo. But he passed that ammunition check. So that's that. All right. So the end result is that the Red 4 machine gun unit fired a sustained rate of fire, a burst, to get the Marines back down, which succeeded, but didn't cause any casualties. The Marines returned fire and did not cause any casualties to the OP4 unit in the building. If they had been in the open, they would have taken a casualty, but because they're in the building, they were suppressed instead. Right about, oh wait, no, that's not true. That was only when I redid the roll. Okay, the real result is both sides would have been fine, actually, because I rolled 2 high rolls, 1 for each side. It was only when I re-rolled the Red 4 to go through the mechanics did we wind up with suppression. Okay, so basically this is a long way, 300 meters away, or I'm sorry, 250 from this one, 250 meters away with just a normal rifle team, firing at a 3 rate of fire attack against a target in a building. Can't expect much to happen, not on a first and single attack. Yeah. So that's enough for now. Until next time.